Hey everybody, Dirty Dan here. So it's no secret that I'm a pretty big fan of the Rivarossi C Liners. They're fun little models, they're pretty cheap, and they're really easy to work on. The pair that we're taking a look at today is a little different though. At first glance, nothing seems too special about this locomotive in particular. It's not until we put this locomotive side by side with another AT&SF C liner that things start to get interesting. You'll start to notice things like the silver truck covers, the couplers, and the overall finish of the locomotive is much nicer. Taking a look at the bottom of these locomotives, the chassis seem to be slightly different as well. With the shells removed, these chassis are indeed different. This locomotive is equipped with one of Rivarossi's later canned motors, as well as an entirely different gear setup. While on the other hand, the average C liner has the typical vertical style motor in it. With all of these clues in mind, it becomes apparent that this locomotive was never intended for the US market. This fact is even further confirmed by the box the locomotive came in. Locomotiva Diesel Electrica Fairbanks Morse de Santa Fe do Unita con I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. All jokes aside, this locomotive somehow made it overseas. Now if you haven't noticed already, this didn't just come as a single powered A unit. This also came with a matching B unit. Now that's cool in and of itself, but what's inside the B unit is the real kicker. Looking inside, there's a large C-cell battery that powers, you guessed it, yes, a horn. It has a horn. To of all the companies who would have ever produced anything like this, Rivarossi would not have been one of my first guesses. But nonetheless, it exists, and I have one. On top of the fact of how interesting this set is, this thing runs fantastic. It's one of the best running C liners in my lineup. You know, I think it's a real shame that stuff like this never reached the US market, because I think that this would have been a really big seller. This thing is so nice, it runs so smooth, and the horn is just such a cool feature. I know it's a little gimmicky, but I mean, it does as advertised. It's super cool. You don't see stuff like that very often, and that's part of the reason that I really like this set. I honestly don't know much about the history. I've only ever seen a couple other ones, and they are very few and far between. I've never actually seen any other ones in person. I've only ever seen them online. But if you ever happen to see one, pick it up. These things run so good. The can motor, and this thing has brass gears. I mean, it just runs fantastic. Incredibly smooth, and the detail. I mean, look at how sharp this thing is. You could see in the close-up pictures earlier, I mean, they really cared about this model when they were making it. But yeah, that's just about everything I have to say about this model. It really fits in well in my collection, and that's why I really like it. And so, without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.